that's the problem that we see today, because thousands of different leadership models and concepts have all come together to form this complex tapestry, like some sort of remarkable chemical formula that we assume only university professors can understand.
So in this mountain of information about leaders and leadership, it was found that the concept has documented roots since the times of Plato's book, The Republic,
where Thrasymachus makes his speech in defense of injustice.
And since its origins, what does it lead us to?
If people have the right to food and shelter, why are 16,000 children dying of starvation every day? 1 every 5 seconds. If people have freedom of speech, why are thousands in prison for speaking their minds? If people have the right to education, why are over 1 billion adults unable to read? If slavery has truly been abolished, why are 27 million people still enslaved today? More than twice as many as in 1800.
Am I a leader? Well, what do leaders do?
Leaders need to have a plan. Like, that's what they're doing, is establishing a plan moving forward so that things can be implemented in a way that's going to get people in moving in a new direction, a future direction that they see is best for them. We have to have somebody take the lead. Somebody has to go first, and that's that leader that's willing to step up because they see where the future is headed, and they're attempting to guide people in the right direction that's going to keep them safe and secure moving forward because they have a sense about the future.
Well, let's look at some strengths and traits. First, let's check in with Gallup's Strengths Finders to see what they have to say.
Maximizer is all about the talent to see something that's working and imagine how it could be working even better. Maximizer falls into the influencing domain. On a team, your maximizer can take something good and challenge everyone to lean farther into it to really make it excellent.
Taking something from below average to slightly above average takes a great deal of effort, and in your opinion, not very rewarding. Transforming something strong into something superb takes just as much effort, but is worth much more and is a much more thrilling process. But you don't get really excited about taking something that's non-existent and creating it from nothing. In your world, it's about looking at something, hey, that's really good, and now I think I can come up with some ways to make that excellent, to make it a lot better than it was.
Learner falls into the strategic thinking category of themes. People high in the learner theme are open-minded. They have a continuous desire to journey from not knowing all the way to knowing. It's always exciting to ask what they're discovering, what they're curious about, and it can go in any direction. Learner can amplify a team by making sure what they're doing is really on the cusp of understanding what is needed in the moment.
Love to learn. The subject matter that interests you most is most determined by your other themes and by your personality, maybe your upbringing, but you'll always be drawn to the process of learning. The process, more than the content and the result, as a matter of fact, is especially gathering pieces and bits of information. You're energized by the steady and deliberate journey from ignorance to competence. You might not be interested in every single little detail, depending on some of the other strings to how you do things, but you're going to be engaged and interested in whatever learning process you can get into. Typically, learners don't necessarily have to feel like they're experts in subject matter. Not trying to get a degree necessarily, you just want to learn more.
Individualization is the talent to notice and appreciate the unique differences of each person. It falls into the relationship building category. People with dominant individualization might shy away from broad generalizations about a group of people or a one-size-fits-all approach. They know that the best way to treat someone is exactly in line with who they are, and chances are that's different than the next person. Having someone with high individualization on your team means you've got a natural casting director, someone who can notice the uniqueness of the individual and ways that those individuals can come together to form a complementary team.
You're intrigued by the unique qualities of each person. You're impatient with generalizations or types because you don't want to be obscure what is special and distinct about each person. You catalog these things in your mind so that you can call on them to help them live out what it is that's distinct about them. Why you know one person's prefers praise in public and another is just beyond most people, but you understand it, you see it distinctly, you have an instinct for this. You can draw out the best in each person. This individualism theme also helps you to build productive teams. You can work in an environment, be able to see what's different about each person. You can be able to see what the strengths are about all these different people in a room and understand how they might work together to be able to figure out the best ways to do things.
Intellection describes people who thrive in the process of thinking. It's a strategic thinking theme. And it's not as much about moving a project or a process forward as it is moving our understanding deeper. And their thoughts are an endlessly exciting place to be. If you have high intellection, you might find that you bring perspectives to something that other people would have missed altogether had you not offered them.
You like to think. You like mental activity. You like exercising the muscles of your brain, stretching them in multiple directions. This mental activity may very well lack focus because you are introspective. Introspection may lead you to a slight sense of discontent as you compare what you are actually doing with all the thoughts and ideas that your mind conceives. Introspection is one of the constants in your life. So as you're going through and new ideas, as you're trying to think about things deeply, you're thinking about everything you can get your hands on, a lot of different things. It isn't one specific area.
Analytical describes people who search for reasons, causes, proof, truth, and evidence as being data-driven or really loving numbers and figures. Analytical is drawn to understanding a problem free from emotion. Living in that strategic thinking realm, analytical can bring a powerhouse of curiosity and of research to a problem.
Your analytical theme challenges people to say, prove it. You want to say, show me why you're claiming this to be true. What is it that makes you think you're right about this? You just want to know what's really happening. You want to understand the data behind it. You're a very objective type person. You want to come across somebody who says, well, let's just look at the data. Let's find out what actually is happening. Well, you want to understand what reality is relative to any data that you're looking at. Armed with the data, you can start looking for patterns, for connections, for how things connect together, and understand how the patterns might relate to one another. But also, how do they combine? What is the outcome pattern that you see in this system? You can be extremely influential in a team that's doing systems analysis. You peel back the layers until gradually the root causes are revealed.
Am I a leader? Well, after looking at the Strength Finder's leadership domain, looks like I don't meet the leadership profile domains listed from A to E. But I do have support from the best reflection essays that provide real-life evidence of these particular strengths. These strengths include going beyond what was expected, being enthusiastic for learning, and relating well with subgroups, and being able to analyze in a deep and meaningful way. Now let's take a look at the BG5 system. In BG5, there's 3 different ways of identifying leadership energy. The first is having a trait 7.
Leader is trait number 7. You have to have others to lead. This is the role of self-interaction. This is also planning. This is also the elected leader. The convergent point. This is the coming together. This is moving into bonding. By design, the need for leadership to guide and order society. And it's about established, proven patterns that lead us into the future. It's a projected trait. It has to be recognized and invited.
If you look at my chart here, it looks like I do not have a trait 7 defined. The second is using your public role quality number to determine your leadership style. My public role is a conscious 3 and a subconscious 5.
Part of our public role is how do we lead? And in quality 3, we have the anarchist. Think of it as the pioneer. It's conquering these new frontiers and taking a look at what doesn't work. This is the rejection of any institutionalized order.
I have a third quality as my public role. The anarchist and pioneer is something that I identify with. Being able to see what's broken and what's not working in leadership, in how we're moving forward, is what I consciously recognize.
In quality 5, we have the general, also the messenger. Leadership whose authority must be absolute and is sanctioned by society in times of crisis. So this is stepping in, delivering the leadership at that time, and then being able to step out.
With the 3-5, I'm here to pioneer a new path when there's a social crisis. And the third is to at least have one of these 5 leadership strengths. According to BG5, I do not have any of the 5 leadership strengths. Am I a leader? As the evidence suggests, and as suspected, by the results of any professional measure, I'm not a leader. How many people meet the leadership qualities of these leadership measures? I suggest the concept of leadership is the same as the concept of averages, the concept in which everyone is compared to this mythical average. Both concepts are not measuring the humans we have, but are comparing humans we have to an unattainable ideal. I propose there's significance in the not finding agreement amongst the leadership qualities in the leadership field. Leadership is not a natural concept. It was invented to build the hierarchical social structure of control over humanity. The mountain of leadership studies have only led academics to the notion that leadership is non-existent in a scientific sense. Perhaps they were looking for new ways to keep the concept alive by inventing individualistic leadership concepts such as, inclusion leadership, collaborative leadership, authentic leadership, and everybody's a leader leadership. So what is my signature style? As Albert Einstein was quoted to have said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them.
It's human nature to dream of a place better than here. We dream about what our lives could be, and some of us dream bigger about what the world could be. One thing's certain, there's always a place that exists outside of space and time, and it's where we want to go.
What if we dropped the idea of leadership altogether and envisioned a new landscape of equality? Maybe there's no need for leaders in an equalizing naturalistic playing field. In an equitable world, every human would be allowed to follow their own innate wisdom towards an optimized potential. With the aid of thoughtful structural freedom, processes, and systems, along with the social goal of self-autonomized global citizens, maybe human nature can begin to heal. To this end, I am following the work of Peter Joseph of the Zeitgeist Movement and the leader of the Occupy movement, where he proposed a structural path toward a sustainable global resource management system. My piece of this puzzle is to introduce the system of differentiation or personalization into the mix to reach a fulfilled life. We live in a continuum where everyone follows someone and everybody comes before somebody. Asking a leader to reverse this planetary trajectory is like asking a drop of water to lead the ocean to stillness. I envision my signature style to come with the awareness that I am a mere puzzle piece, that's job is to only be me and to only do my part in this global humanitarian uprising that is to come. My signature style is a complex weave of strengths and traits that, armed with the right mission, can provide the slight fluttering from my butterfly wing and turn it into a tsunami.